back to our YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make a simple hairline dress with cold shoulder sleeve. Okay, so here I've taken my measurement. This is my starting point, my armhole measurement, my waist measurement, and that's the hemline. It's a short dress. I don't need the hip measurement because I'm just going to take it down straight like that. Okay, here I took my shoulder measurement, which is 14 inches divided by 2 will give me 7 inches, and here I'm going to take my armhole measurement, my bust measurement, sorry, on my armhole line. My bust measurement is 34 divided by 2 is going to give me, divided by 4. This fabric is folded into 4. There's no zipper allowance because I won't be adding a zipper to this. First of all, it's a stretchy fabric, and because it's an A-line dress, it's not so tight, so I won't be adding it. So my bust measurement is 34 divided by 4 is going to give me 8.5, and I'm adding ½ inch for ease because it's not going to be too tight, and I'm marking 9 inches there. Okay, and on my waist measurement, I'm working with a waist measurement of 30 inches. 30 divided by 4 is going to give me 7.5 plus ½ inch for ease. I'm adding 8 inches. Okay, and from here, from the 8 inches, I'm just going to take it down to my full hemline measurement. So here I'm just going to add 1 inch seam allowance to my bust, and also add 1 inch seam allowance to my hemline, to my waistline, and here on my hem I'm using 12 inches. Okay, 12 inches for my hem. So I'm going to take it down from here to this place. So now let's draw our armhole curve. But before I draw my armhole curve, I need to draw my shoulder slant by going down here by 1 inch, and then my neckline measurement is 3 inches by 3 inches, the regular neckline. You can choose to use whichever neckline you want to use. Okay, but this is the basic neckline. So from this neckline you can decide to generate any other neckline you want. So using my ruler, okay, so here I took my 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and then I connected this back to my neckline measurement. Okay, then on that mark I drew my armhole measurement. Okay, so this is my armhole curve, and then I connected from my bust to my waist, and then from my waist all the way down to my hemline. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out this pattern. But remember that usually the front and back neckline is not usually the same. Yours can be the same if that is what you want, but usually the front neckline is usually lower than the back neckline. So I'm just going to be cutting my back neckline first before I then reshape my front neckline to what I wish to use. Okay, so I'm cutting this out now. It's a stretchy fabric, so I'm just trying to okay, so I've cut this out now. I'm just going to open it up. This is my back neckline. Okay, because the neckline is not so wide, I measure 4 inches downwards on my back neckline only here, and then I'm going to cut it down, and then so that I will be able to pass a button there so that the person can wear it easily. Okay, so this is my back. I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to fold over my front neckline again so that I can reshape my neckline. So I've decided to maintain this my natural 3 inches, or I can go as deep as 4 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it out, my front neckline only. So you can see it's a very simple dress to make. This is what it looks like, and it's a short dress. You can see it's not too big. I have a tutorial on if you want your A-line to be voluminous, to be really big. I think I have something like that on the channel already. You may want to check that out. Okay, so we are done with this. All I just need to, there is no much sewing to be done here. I just need to sew it together. It's not going to be having a lining, so it's very easy make, I'm going to sew it together on the shoulder area like this. Sew the shoulder together, and then the 1 inch mark that I make here, I'm going to turn it in with a bias, and then also turn my neckline with a bias before I sew it together on the side. But remember, I said this is a cold shoulder dress, meaning that it's going to be having like an off shoulder sleeve where the shoulder will be a bit exposed here. So I'm going to cut my sleeve now. Okay, so I've drafted my sleeve. I'm working with a balloon. It is like a balloon sleeve. It's not the regular sleeve. That's why the hem of the sleeve is looking this big. I just took it down straight. I did not shape it how you would shape normal basic sleeve. Okay, so now that I've done this, remember I said it's a cold shoulder. So to get my cold shoulder, I'm just going to, depending on how open you want your armhole to your shoulder to show, I'm just going to be taking 3 inches lengthwise here, and here I'll just measure 3.5, between 3 to 4 inches. So I'll be going with 3.5 inches because that is what I want. So I'm just going to connect these two measurements together. This measurement is what determines how open your shoulder will be and how far. If you go too low here, it's going to fall down on your shoulder more. Okay, so it depends on what you want. This is what I want, so I'm going to be cutting this off. Okay, so I'm going to hem this side with a bias, and then this goes to my armhole. So on my hem line, like I said, you can see it's bigger than the normal. The hem of the person I'm working with is actually 8 inches. That's the measurement around this. Okay, so that's the measurement around the wrist. It's actually 8 inches for the person that I'm working with. So I cut a band of 10 inches width, 10 inches width and 8 inches length. So the 8 inches is for me to hem it here and hem it here. So it is this band I'm going to sew like this. So this is what I'm going to achieve. So by the time I fold this, I'm going to be left with 3.5 inches band. Okay, so I'll be left with 3.5 if I sew in half inch. So the work of this band is just to gather my sleeve. Remember, this is 10 inches and my actual sleeve is more than 10 inches. So I'm just going to gather or hem or pleat this round the hem line of my sleeve to fit into my 10 inches band like this, so that I'll have like a puffy effect on my sleeve. That is what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm going to take all this to the sewing machine now. I'm going to try to sew this. I'm going to gather all this to fit into my actual band, and then I'm going to turn it so that I'll have a neat finishing here, and then I'll bring it back to show us what we have. So I've joined my front and back together on the shoulder. As you can see, I joined it together on the shoulder, and I went to hem the neckline with a bias. Okay, so this is it right here. The neckline is neatly finished. I just create a buttonhole with a bias also, so that I can attach a button here, and then I'll be able to close it with the buttonhole. Okay, so what I just need to do next now is just to shape them on the side by just taking them together like this. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine, and the 1 inch allowance that I left, I'm going to use it to sew it on both sides. Likewise for the sleeve, I've pleated my sleeve inside my 3.5 inch band. Okay, you can see it is neatly finished both inside and outside. So when I'm done with sewing, I'm just going to measure 3.5 inches. Remember, I went down by 3.5 inches on my sleeve. I'm going to measure 3.5 inches down, and from this mark I'm going to join my sleeve to my main bodies like this. Okay, so I'll do that on the sewing machine now and bring it back to show us. Okay, so now I've joined the sleeve to the, you can see it. So this here will expose the shoulder a bit, and this is the puff sleeve, as you can see. Okay, so I did the same on the other side, and then I hemmed the neckline all through for neatness. So, and here I also fixed a button, like I said, to the back side. Okay, so that is how you make your short A-line dress. You can see how beautiful it is and how very simple it is. So give this a try and let's see what you come up with. So this is the full dress. You can see how beautiful this is. Kindly like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.